Unscripted, unfiltered, unafraid. Welcome to the Macworld Podcast. I'm Michael Simon, and I'm joined again by Jason Cross.
Good morning.
And our producer, Roman Loyola.
Ahoy there.
Did y'all have fun without me last week?
We did. David brings a gravitas with his accent that, like we just don't have.
We don't.
No.
Like he could say anything and it sounds like he's, erudite and sophisticated. And
Right. Yeah.
Roman's a little under the weather today. Unfortunately, this is like the worst possible podcast for him to be sick because we're talking about the M5 MacBook Pro that he reviewed.
Oh.
Yeah, so a few days ago, my son was home and he was coughing and sneezing and hacking. I was
always the kids.
And I was like, "Are you sick?" And he's all, "Yeah, kind of." And I was thinking,
oh boy.
Then I, the clock in my head.
Sick.
Right, the clock in my head just starts to count down.
Yep.
So then yesterday afternoon, I was like, "Oh, here it goes." So, yeah. But I don't have COVID. I took 2 COVID tests. I do not have COVID.
And he's not at that age where they're little germ sponges where,
No.
He's much older than that.
Yeah.
Like little kids, they just go off to school and absorb every disease in their house.
Yeah. So I remember when my kids were really young, I was like sick for a year straight, practically.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Nursery school and elementary school and, all those things.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, before he got sick, Roman spent a couple of days testing the M5 MacBook Pro, and we're going to talk all about that. Look at the numbers, look at the things he liked, he didn't like, all that stuff, whatever he wants to talk about, however long he can talk about it. Then later on, we'll have our segment, What We're Watching on Apple TV, Take Away the Plus. We'll get to that later. This week in Apple history, and we'll close with our reader mailbag. As always, you can contact us through Blue Sky Facebook or Threads. Search for Macworld, look for the Blue Mouse logo. Again, no dedicated podcast email just yet, but you can email me at michael_simon@foundryco.com. Email Roman, email Jason, email David, email Karen, whoever. We'll get it. And
any Karen, just email Karen.
Karen at Macworld. It'll get to somebody. And next week we'll discuss the comments that we get. So before we get started with the MacBook Pro, we're recording this on Tuesday, October 21st. Yesterday and I think most of Sunday, Amazon Web Services went down. There was a major outage.
Yeah.
And, that's one of those things that you don't ever think about until it doesn't work.
Right.
Major websites went down, I think Fortnite, Reddit, Signal, Snapchat, Apple Music was affected. Not
Roblox.
Not obviously Amazon too, but not completely for hours. It would work and then it wouldn't work. We have a thing, we use a management tool called Monday, just to kind of sort stuff, articles and things, and that wasn't working properly. And it's interesting and frightening, how many things depend on Amazon Web Services.
Yes.
So this is where I'm going to turn to Jason. It was caused by a domain name system, a DNS error, which I've heard a million times, but I have no idea what it is. So,
yep, that's actually
help me understand.
That's actually a fairly easy thing to describe. So AWS, as you know, is just Amazon's basically rent a server service, right? For whatever. And
it's
so
massive.
many websites.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's massive. They have dozens of locations across the globe, and
including obviously their own. Amazon itself is is hosted.
But if you
website.
think Amazon is a giant in e-commerce, that is nothing compared to how dominant they are in this sort of thing. This sort of rent a web server business. Microsoft is really huge with Azure as well, but Amazon's the big one, and Slack runs on it, and all these applications. You're not going to buy your own hardware and buy a building to put it in and an internet connection and maintain it and all that. No, you lease these things, and Amazon's the big dog,
and it's a trusted one because it's a big name,
and it's very trusted and it's very reliable. But when a bad thing happens, it affects a lot of the internet. You're like, how could it make Fortnite go down? Well, Fortnite's game servers aren't AWS necessarily. They may not be. But like things like the login servers and the part where you buy V-Bucks and stuff like that is running on it. It's just it's so in everything. Yep. So domain name server is, if you type Amazon.com, that's not an address on the internet. That doesn't exist. What exists is like 43.195. It's like a series of 4 3-digit numbers, right? That's the IP address. What a domain name server does is it associates the URL name, Amazon.com, Macworld.com, whatever it is, with that IP address.
Right.
So that when you type Amazon.com in your browser, it goes to a DNS server and says, what's the IP of Amazon.com? And it tells your computer, and your computer links to the 43.195. Blah. That's all it is. They're big servers.
And each of those are unique numbers, obviously.
Yeah, and they're unique numbers and stuff. And when you change your website and it's hosted somewhere else, they have to update the domain name server so that everyone trying to reach you at macworld.com goes to the right IP address, that kind of thing. There are, I don't want to say a handful. There's a bunch because they're kind of copied, but there are a handful of like these core domain name servers that are really, really foundational parts of the internet that are spread throughout. They're like major trunk things. And then there's copies of those records and stuff run by internet providers and stuff like, Comcast has their own DNS servers and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So when one of those goes down or is, they're constantly being hit by DDoS attacks and stuff like that. They have all these protections against all that stuff. But if there's a fault or something goes down or anything in that, then everyone's connection doesn't know where to go.
Right.
So I don't know exactly what the DNS problem was because it could have been a million different things. But basically, if that's what the problem was, then what it meant is everyone's computer trying to connect to some domain that AWS hosts didn't know where to go.
Okay.
Until it got fixed. It didn't know, hey, what IP address is that address, right? So, that's bad. Half the time something like this bad happens and you scramble and you look, what is the problem? It's DNS. You're right. Almost always DNS.
I mean, I've heard the term, I don't know, a couple hundred dozen times, but I never quite knew what it was. And so what's interesting to me about the whole thing is that it wasn't like you went to Amazon.com and you got a 404 error. Like parts of it didn't work. Like the top would load and then your history wouldn't load or the search wouldn't work. And on our thing and our experience with that Monday thing, like sometimes it went through or it would be delayed by 20 minutes, like a script that we used. So like things would kind of pop on and pop off. Like, so Apple Music was affected, but I wasn't personally affected by it. Like I was able to use it all day. So it's not everybody, it's not all at once. And it's not just that it's just down.
Yeah, it depends on which DNS server you're hitting, depending on where you live. And it depends, like you said, on the service. Like, so Amazon.com might resolve. And people have caches. Your computer doesn't want to hit a DNS server every time. Right. So it has a cache of places you go. But as the site loads, like in the site code, it's going to pull images and stuff like that from image hosting CDNs and other stuff that have a different address than Amazon.com. And that has to go to the DNS server to get that address. And it fails. So that doesn't load the image. Right. Yeah. So it's just this, I don't think people appreciate just what a Gordian knot of stuff the internet is to make like everything work. It is so complicated. And when something like, at the middle, like the DNS goes down, it just, your whole day is ruined.
It's like your electricity, like you could have like, it could be out at my house, but not out across the street. And, like and then it would flicker. It'll come back on for a minute. It'll go back in. Like it's that. And, internet has become a utility. It's not a luxury anymore. Like we need it.
And imagine that electricity example, except you have 100 different electricity providers and different appliances in your house
all
use
over the
different
world.
ones.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And then you're like, hey, my toaster's not working. My toaster works fine. My fridge is out though. Like it just doesn't, it's a mess.
So apparently it was a pretty simple fix based on what I'm reading in the articles, but it took a while, I guess, to figure out what was wrong.
They had to plug it back in.
Yeah. So anyway, we didn't write a story about it because I don't know. It was just, I figured wasn't worth the story because everybody was talking about it. Like we all knew it was happening and we had nothing to add to it other than that it existed. But I did just want to talk about it briefly here.
Not to mention,
Jason explains things to me.
Whenever something like that happens, it's always iffy to write a story because you'll be halfway into writing it and it'll be fixed.
Right.
Like you have no idea if this is down. Are we down for hours or is this a little hiccup?
Yeah, totally. So anyway, it was if you had issues with whatever service yesterday, well, yesterday being Monday, you were listening to this on Thursday or Friday. That's why. And as far as I can tell, there's no assurance that it won't happen again. Like these things happen. So
these things happen. AWS outages it does happen. It's usually not very long, but
this one was particularly lengthy, like probably about 24 hours all said, maybe more.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. MacBook Pro, Roman, you're up. Okay. So we've been hearing about this update for a while. And you've written this phrase a few times called chip and ship.
Yeah.
Which means that it's a refresh of the chip. So we weren't expecting much, but you were surprised. Pleasantly.
But I was pleasantly surprised. So chip and ship, that's not a term I created. I'm not even sure.
Right, yeah, I know. But, I don't know where it comes from, but I like it.
I think it's Gurman's term, but I think it's an internal Apple term.
It's actually I've heard it used for other companies going back years. Basically, it just means you upgrade the processor, but nothing else. Not the display or anything else. You just put in a new processor and go.
Yeah. So I got the new M5 MacBook Pro. This is the base model. So it has the 10-core CPU with 4 performance cores, 6 efficiency cores. I think that's the same setup as the M4 and maybe even the M3. I can't remember.
Is there a higher end? We don't have a higher end yet, right?
No, the Pro and Max
that's the only chip
still,
you can get.
Right.
You can get M4 Pro and Max. They still sell.
Right.
But you can't get the M5 Pro and Max are not yet.
Yeah, and you had 16 gigs of RAM, which is also the base. It goes up to 24, maybe 32, 24, I think.
Yeah, and a 10-core GPU. I think the memory bandwidth goes up. I want to say it was 124 before. Now it's 153 gigabits per second. Gigabits. I don't know. It's something with GBps.
Gigabyte.
Yeah, gigabytes. Yeah. But then everything else really is the same. It's the same display. Same number,
exactly the same. It's there's no it gets 1800. It's a brightness versus 6. It's the same exact display as before.
Right. It's still Thunderbolt 4. They didn't upgrade it to Thunderbolt 5, which I guess we can talk about that. And I think that's probably going to be what we're going to see from this model from now on. And everything else is the same. We got some incremental CPU speed improvements that we kind of expected between 14 and 22%. That's basically what we see from chip to chip.
Mm-hmm.
What was more impressive was the GPU performance. And, Apple was touting that the GPU is better.
Yeah.
And I saw in my testing with the Geekbench compute using the Metal API, I saw a 35% increase in performance. And I also did some video game tests, and the frame rates were much higher. So that was a nice surprise. I expected an improvement, but maybe not that much.
Is it safe to say this is the biggest graphic, I think generational graphics improvement since Apple started doing the M series?
I think it is. I think it might.
There was
there might.
And looking at the numbers that you got, Roman, it looks like the M1 to M2 was close. This might be more than that, but it's close. You should mention the Geekbench numbers. We see Geekbench GPU performance results all the time. I should point out to everyone that is not graphics performance. That is not how fast it draws 3D graphics.
Okay.
That is Geekbench's texts are using GPU, what they call GPU compute, GPU or GPU to use the old term, where it's using the GPU to compute things like blurring the background in a video or horizon detection and stuff like that. It's not drawing 3D graphic scenes like you would in a video game. You have to use other tests for that. But in those other but it's even a higher improvement in those kind of tests, the drawing 3D graphics tests and video games and stuff like that than the Geekbench thing. It's like huge.
Yeah, the Geekbench is, as Jason was pointing out, it's basically a parallel processing test. It's basic, and GPUs are used in that aspect. So,
can someone explain what parallel processing test is?
If I give you a math test to do, you would get through it in a certain amount of time if you did one problem at a time, right?
But
if I had 10 of you and instead of giving you each one problem to do, like instead of making you all start at problem number one, and if I instead gave you each one problem to do, you'd be done in a tenth of time, right?
Okay.
You each get one, right? So it's that kind of thing. You're just doing multiple things at the same time. Yeah.
See why I like when Jason explains things to me? Like, that was super simple. Thank you.
That's a good explanation. So, but the video game results that I got were especially at, I guess, the higher or maybe the lower resolutions, and some of the higher ones, well, in a mix. But there was as much as a 122% increase. So that was pretty impressive.
That was the total war. That was an outlier, but even the others, even the ones that aren't like Rise of the Tomb Raider and stuff like that were pretty huge, like 50% or more in some cases, just like really surprisingly high increase in sort of like video game performance and stuff. And not even on brand new titles that only use the cool new Metal 4 API tricks or anything like that. Just even on older existing games, way faster.
Yeah, it's fun. We have a fancy charts on the article, and you can like click through them and watch the little little bars get bigger. But some of the numbers are very impressive. Now, does that mean Apple has plans to help gamers get newer titles next year? Maybe because presumably the Pro and the Max chips versions of this chip will be even better.
So,
that'd be exciting.
So the whole game thing, we could probably do a whole podcast on that. There are two aspects to the whole gamer thing.
Okay.
There's the performance, and I'm actually I worked on a new article that basically talks about how the M5 compares to like PC World's gaming laptop recommendations. So there's that. So there's the performance, and I think, at least with this base M5, it may not be considered fast enough for the hardcore gamers.
Okay.
Yep.
And then there's the whole developer relation thing, which yeah. So
if you're a gamer, just hey, what games are available and when are they available is not great. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two sides of that, and that's a problem. So the issue is that Apple is making concerted effort in their marketing to promote the MacBook Pro as a gaming machine. And I think for a lot of people in the Mac market, it's okay. But I don't think you're going to persuade any hardcore gamers to switch. Because the performance just isn't, and there are other aspects too, like you can't upgrade a graphics card at any Mac. that kind of thing too. So there are just all kinds of these hardware issues that hardcore gamers are not going to be satisfied with.
Even
Jason's
with
a
this,
gamer.
yeah, and I worked for a PC game magazine for a long time. Even with this performance jump, it performs well for $1,000 laptop. It's not $1,000 laptop though. Like you get more at this price. You get way more performance out of a Windows laptop with a GeForce GPU in it, right? It's just going to be, and ignoring a desktop, like, which is of course way faster. But so at what this laptop costs, what's the price of this model, Roman? This base model that you tested?
One I tested is $1,649 because it has
$1,649. Yeah, and you would get this kind of game performance out of a Windows laptop that is $1,000 to $1,200. You know, so and that's
I think Roman, you're actually
$1,849
or $1,949 because you have the 1 terabyte drive also.
Oh right, I'm sorry. You're right,
so
$1,949.
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the SSD, because that's the other thing that super impressed me. Apple has not had slow SSDs for some time, but they haven't been getting much better.
Right.
And this just jumped from 3 gigs a second to 6. Yeah. Just straight up, read and write, just bam, twice as fast.
Yeah, I think I ran those tests like more than usual because I kept going, that's not right, is it?
Right?
Is that right? And I just
more than double.
Yeah. So that's pretty impressive. And like Jason said, it's been plateaued for I think at least 3 generations. So seeing that jump is pretty nice.
Do we have any insight into why that is?
It's just what they spend.
Okay.
It's SSDs have been getting faster. It's all just, what does Apple want to spend on flash storage?
It's the type of flash storage that they're
It's the type of flash storage. It's the interface. I mean, they've had it available to them to have a faster interface to the SSD. They just haven't bothered. You know, it's a number of things that they just hasn't been a priority for Apple to do every year.
Yeah.
But they took a huge leap.
A couple of generations ago, I don't know, maybe 2. There was an issue because there was like 1 NAND chip versus 2 NAND chips, and they were slower. And so, but this is more than that. This is more than just fixing that bottleneck. This is like they're using higher end parts or some different connector or whatever. Okay.
Yep. Probably both.
And that's probably one of the things that people would notice the most is the speed of the disk, because you're constantly going back and forth and doing stuff.
Yeah, especially for a MacBook Pro, where you're not just doing like web stuff and everything all the time, where you're loading in some big 4 gigabyte video file into Final Cut or something like that. Man, it's going to be way faster.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are the major improvements of the MacBook Pro, the M5 MacBook Pro. The battery life also improved. I got 27 hours. Now,
wow.
The thing is, I think just over 20 hours on the M4 MacBook Pro, but since I don't have that machine with me, I didn't get to test it in tandem with the M5, because it's possible that like I had I know we usually test at 150 nits for the brightness, but it's possible I had it at, I don't know, 145 or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
well, whatever, it's good.
That's very good. Yeah,
it's never been the MacBook Pro battery, at least with the M series, has never been an issue.
Right.
So I almost felt silly writing it, because I was like, these laptops, ever since that M series M1, they've been good.
Yeah.
So,
you know, that's an area where, you know, we talk about comparison to Windows laptops and performance. That is an area where Apple just crushes. Is like the benchmarks on a Windows laptop, or especially a high-end one with a discrete GPU or something that you would use for gaming or production work. That's when plugged in, and as soon as you unplug it and they have to run all the voltages lower, the speed drops a lot. And the battery life, it's gotten much better in Windows land, but the battery life of like high-end laptops just isn't close. Like Apple's just killing it on that. Like the performance is basically the same when you're unplugged. It's just as fast
Yeah.
and it lasts a super long time. So that's a huge advantage.
Yeah. So, but everything else about the laptop is the same.
Your version had the nano texture glass that cost $150.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that? Would you pay for it on your own if you were buying one?
I don't. I used to think I would, but now I don't think so.
What's it cost again on the
150?
It's additional $150. And I go back and forth because I don't the glare on the glossy has never been an issue for me, but I do like the richer black.
Right.
Because the thing about the nano texture screen is that black, and especially for people who like me, I'm in dark mode a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to see the richer black, and the glossy makes black, richer, as I keep saying.
Yeah.
But then when you go to nano texture, it's not as, it's not that way, and it's not bad. It's just different. It's totally a preference thing. Is it worth $150? I don't know.
I just wonder what they make screen protectors that do like anti-glare.
Yeah.
And they are less. I don't want to call it foggy, but like less. They impact the contrast less than the nano texture, and they're not cheap. But I think they're cheaper than $150. But then you have to put it on your. So I just wonder if that's just like a better way to go for some people.
I have a 14-inch M3. I think I'm M3 Max or something. I don't know. But I work like right in front of a window, and there's glare. But you just kind of like adjust it a couple of millimeters. Like I'm serious, like a little tiny bit.
Yeah,
and it's fine.
Sometimes.
I have a when I work in the office like I'm doing right now, I have a external display that's matte, and the glossy display looks so much better next to one that's not glossy. I liked it. I've always preferred it. I understand the glare is an issue. If it is an issue, like for your specific needs, sure. $150 on a $1,600 laptop it's not like horrendous. And by all accounts, the nano texture glass is a high end application that Apple uses. But I would personally just stick with the glossy, unless you're dealing with like
I would
massive
probably
overhead
try. I would probably try one of those good high-end screen protectors that uses the 3M film thing.
I would be petrified to put a screen protector on my MacBook.
You really want to line it up good. Like that's something you don't want.
Yeah, I would be so like when I used to, back when iPhones, broke easily, I had screen protectors, and there's always a bubble. There's always like a. It's probably better now, but there was always some part of the screen that drove me nuts because I screwed up when I applied it.
They have these really great applicators now where you just put it in a tray, and it's perfectly lined up, and then you just peel it off. It's much easier to get a really great screen protector application, but I don't think they have that for MacBooks. Put your whole MacBook upside down in a tray.
Yeah. So I guess the one thing also I mentioned it earlier is it has Thunderbolt 4.
Yeah.
So Apple's
the
pattern.
Pro and the Max have 5 now. They do, right?
Yes. So the M4 Pro Max, they have 5, and I think that's Apple's pattern.
Sure, it makes sense. I guess
those laptops will have whatever is one iteration above the base, I'm thinking. But I mean, Thunderbolt 6 hasn't even been announced yet, has it?
Yeah, right. I don't think so, Jason.
Gosh, I don't remember. It's probably one of those things that they're in the working group on, but
it's not official or beta or anything, and it's gonna be a while. But I think that's what we're gonna see is whatever Thunderbolt that's in the base model will always be one level below the.
And listen, Thunderbolt 4 is pretty good. I mean, it's not like you're going to be starving for bandwidth.
Yeah, you have to have really high end like external drive with an SSD and all that to saturate Thunderbolt 4. And Thunderbolt 5 is for like high end video producers who have like really fast
Right.
external storage that they
Right.
just need to pull in crazy big.
Right.
And if you're paying like $3,000 for a laptop, you expect, even if you're not going to use it, it should be there. Yeah.
It's nice that it's future proof,
Yeah. And this says Wi-Fi 7, but I think the other one did too, right? Like all that's the same. Like they didn't.
Yeah. Bluetooth
in the
5,
iPad Pro,
3.
they added Wi-Fi 7 and Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 6. Oh, so it doesn't have Bluetooth 6? Because the iPad Pro does. Let me look. Hold on.
Yeah, the
No, it
iPad
actually-
Pro uses the new N1.
Oh,
the
yeah.
MacBook
That's right.
does not.
That's
Yeah.
So it has Wi-Fi 6E, I think, still. And
Oh, no shit. Does it really?
Right.
Okay.
3. Yeah.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
It has
Oh, it
the
does
same
have
as the
6E.
last model.
How
Yeah.
about that?
So Wi-Fi 7, all that stuff, that's just the iPad
That's the
Pro,
Pro.
because they put the N1 in it. This
Right.
like when we said chip and chip, they really one chip. Just one chip on this
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, like something like Wi-Fi 7, like unless you have a Wi-Fi 7 router, it's not going to matter anyway.
It's pretty rare right now.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be
right.
nice to have it future proof for
Sure.
when you upgrade our
Right.
home router in 3 years, but yeah, you're
Jason,
okay.
do you have any insight into why they didn't put the N1 processor in this computer?
Nothing specific. I can imagine that it has to do with things like
Next year.
one of those things where one, they're not changing, they're not spending the money to change a lot of the internal components or connections. It could have to do with like the arrangement of the antennas in the system just aren't
That makes
tuned
sense.
well
Yeah.
for what the N1 does, or
Yep.
or for Wi-Fi 7. I don't know. We'd have to ask them, but my guess is it's just a cost thing that they just changed as little as possible, and because the big updates next year or whatever.
Yeah. And I wonder if the Pro and Max will have that to get Wi-Fi 7 on those. I wonder.
Yeah.
The only other thing that was of note, Roman, is the power adapter.
Right. So the base
Oh yeah.
MacBook Pro comes with a 70-watt power adapter in the US.
Yeah.
And if you're in the UK or the European Union, it's not included by default. It's an option, and you have to pay extra for that adapter.
Like full price. They're not even really discounting it.
Yeah, it's not even a
It's not-
discount.
right.
Yeah.
But although, see, I don't know how the exchange rates work. The base in the UK, the base MacBook Pro is £1,599.
Yeah.
Is
That's a
now
lot.
that's a lot, but I don't know if that's equivalent to the $1,599 in the US, because sometimes it's a little lower in the UK because of the exchange rates. and stuff.
That is
So-
the equivalent today of a little over $2,100
oh,
USD.
okay.
Usually,
Okay, so it's more.
usually the pound sterling is worth more than US dollar. So
Right.
if the prices are equivalent, that's more expensive over there. They also, that has things built into it like VATs and
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
We pay sales tax that's above our sticker price, and it's not there. That's built in. So there's some differences, but yeah, that's expensive to not give you the power adapter. And it's not like your phone where you've got a drawer full of
not that
15,
high. Yeah.
15 watt things. You want the fast power adapter for your big MacBook.
Right.
I think that was cheap.
Yeah. And they blamed it on the EU, but as a bunch
Uh-huh.
of people have pointed out, that's not really the case. Like,
Yeah.
it's obviously was
Everybody
the
else is shipping
impetus,
a
but,
laptop
yeah,
with a power adapter. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. I
in the
think it
US, you
basic-
do.
I was just gonna. I think it basically has to do with supply chains. They
Yeah.
barely use a similar supply chain. They didn't want to deal with one supply chain that has adapters and the other
Sure.
that doesn't in Europe. So yeah, that's what.
In the US, you get a 70-watt power adapter, but that doesn't do fast charging. If you want fast charging, you can get upgrade. I think this is new. You can upgrade to the 96-watt at the time of purchase for $20. I don't think they ever offered that before. might be wrong.
Last year, the M4 was the one that had that new fast charging, but
But it
might
still
be
had a
right that
70-watt power adapter in the box.
right, and I don't think they offered.
Oh no, they do. I just looked it up. They did offer $20.
Yeah.
At the time of purchase, you could upgrade.
Okay, you could switch it out.
Yeah.
I know you could always
That's-
buy it extra, but
Right. That's probably worth it if you don't have one, because
I think so.
Fast charging is nice. You're not going to find a 100-watt power adapter for $20 separately.
No.
Right.
So
But,
at the time of purchase, like if you want to pay that $20 to get it, I wouldn't buy it through Apple after the fact, but if you get it, sure.
I prefer to go with third-party adapters because
like if you're buying it straight, for sure, like Anker.
And you can find third-party adapters that do more, like they have more ports, for example, or it'll have an indicator or something like that. So that's why I prefer to go. I don't go with Apple's, because Apple's it's gigantic for one thing, and it just has a single port.
Yeah, and they're pretty plain, and, like
and heavy.
Said, I think they use gallium nitride.
Some of these Mac ones I don't know. I think
some don't.
The newer like iPhone, iPad adapters that are like little and have high output and stuff, those gotta be for sure. Right. But I don't know about the MacBook ones.
That's one of my favorite. That 35-watt dual charger thing that Apple has.
Yeah,
that's a good one. But they haven't, like as Roman says, like their larger ones aren't. They didn't add extra ports. They didn't make them much smaller. Like they're big and clunky and whatever.
Yeah. Get a third party one.
Yeah, go get a different one. All right. So Roman, the question I ask everyone who wrote a review: would you tell someone to upgrade from an M4 or like what's the generation you would start saying, "Oh, you should probably upgrade because it's much better"?
There's always these conditions with it, so I want to try.
All right,
how rich are you?
Right, how rich are you?
Sure.
If you are in a production environment and you have an M1,
okay,
that's worth it. Yeah,
sure.
If you have
that's a massive boost. Yeah,
right. Maybe even an M2, but then after that, it's are you willing to spend the money? It's basically how much is your time worth?
Also, when was the generation where they changed the display and all that stuff?
That was the M3.
Well, it depends.
Right, it was
the
split.
M1. The M1 Pro and Max introduced the new design. It was the M3 base model.
Okay,
that brought that design to the lower.
So that would be the other thing I would say is if you're on the other side of that sort of display change and stuff like that, you get all that stuff too. That's really a huge improvement.
Yeah.
I have an M3 Max, and I'm not really tempted to. It's fine. My mine is fine. I'm perfectly happy
for what
with
you
it.
do. Yeah, it's going to be great for like what you have to the work that you have.
That was
to do.
mildly insulting, Jason.
Well, you're not doing a bunch of big scientific heavy.
You don't know that. Maybe I am.
Yeah, I do. I know it doesn't take a whole lot to crunch base ball numbers. I think the base M1, that's not the kind of workload that.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what you're using it for. Baseball stats.
Now, if you're kind of like me, who likes using the base M4 or base MacBook Pro, but I'm not creating 3D art or anything like that. It's my everyday daily driver. If you have an M1, it's probably worth it. But then after that, because for you, then money is more of a consideration. And
well, then there's the question of once this chip comes to the MacBook Air next year, will it be? I wonder if Apple's going to dial it back a little bit for the Air because it's a pretty big. Upgrade. Like they could, kind of release a lesser version because that computer's $999. That's significantly less. Than
usually, what ends up happening with the Air is even if the chip's not cut back, it ends up being slower because it doesn't have the fan and everything. So it just gets hot and has to kind of back off on its own a little bit.
Sure.
So it ends up not being as fast. But then there's others because, they don't have, the Air doesn't have as good a screen. It doesn't have as many ports. It doesn't,
right.
has all that other stuff too. So,
but none of that's really new. So,
like
if, there's, and it probably won't be on the Air either. Like I'm sure the Air will just be an M5.
My go-to sort of laptop is the M2 Air.
Yeah.
And I think the M5 is where I would really want to take a leap. Although the Air's overdue for a better display. Like I feel like.
Yeah, a little bit. They haven't really
like the
touched
rest
it
of
much
the
since the 2. That was the
Yeah, and I
redesign,
feel-
and it's kind of been the same.
And the redesign just kind of, it's not like it gave it an HDR display or a high refresh rate display or any of those things. It just
copied the Pro look.
Right. So,
yeah.
and in that price range, you get those things in a lot of Windows laptops in the $1,000 and up, market.
Yeah.
You get some of that stuff. So it's kind of maybe time.
Well, now that they brought ProMotion to the iPhone 17, I wonder if next year or the year after they'll come to the Air as well. Finally.
Yeah. Some display upgrades.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a big, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. There's a big change coming next year, allegedly, with OLED and touchscreen for the pros. So maybe that'll be when that comes as well.
Yeah, that was another consideration that if you're really excited about touchscreen, and I think the rumors say that touchscreen's not coming to the base MacBook Pro. It's coming to the Pro and Max. But if you really want that touchscreen, maybe you wait a year and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Like it seems almost like they had that backwards. Like you would think that more lower level consumers would want a touchscreen than pro level consumers, but maybe I'm wrong.
Or just put it on everything if you're changing the display. But why have 2 different production lines? But we talked about it before. There's a big update. It's not just OLED. There's display. There's going to be design changes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you've got an M4, totally wait for that at least. But M3, maybe certainly M2, M1, but M3 seems like the iffy spot, right, Roman? That seems like well, maybe.
Well, maybe. Yeah. So like I said, if you're the type of person who really depends on speeds and reads or whatever that is, then yeah. So, but I think a lot of other people, they can probably wait a little while.
Okay. So you can read Roman's article, Roman's review rather. What day is it? Today's Tuesday, so Thursday. So yeah, it's been up for a couple of days. And they go on sale tomorrow. I think, right, Roman? Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday, 22nd. I think I read. I think I remember. Anyway, you can by the time you're listening to this, you can certainly buy one.
Yes, you can. Pre-order it, and then they ship. Did they ship Friday or?
I think they ship tomorrow.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think they ship tomorrow. It's a weird Wednesday thing.
Release, yeah. It was in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a surprisingly good upgrade. Are you over Space Black, Roman? Do you not care anymore? Because I remember you wrote a lot about it a couple years ago.
I do like the Space Black, but yeah, I've gotten over that.
Yeah, I have the Space Black one, and I have a little nick right next to the trackpad, and it drives me nuts.
It is ruined. Throw it in the trash.
For a year and a half, but oh man, it drives me crazy.
You know that scene of Ron Johnson throwing his computer in the dumpster?
Yeah.
That's how you feel about that. It's got a spare.
No, it drives me nuts. I could see it everywhere all the time. It's all I ever see. Yeah. And I did it. I know exactly. I put my phone down on it and I scratched, but whatever. All right. So moving on. What we're watching, what is this called? What's on Apple TV? What we're watching on Apple TV? Are we doing that,
or are we moving into the This Week in History because it's the MacBook thing?
Oh, so all right. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll shuffle this around. Yeah.
Okay.
Just an idea.
So we're going into the Apple History segment. And on this day in 1991, Apple unveiled the PowerBook line of laptops, the PowerBook 100, 140, and 170. And this is remarkable because it was Apple's first true laptop. It replaced the Mac Portable.
It was like a suitcase.
Which was, yeah. It was only portable because it had a handle.
Yeah, that was aptly named. It was portable. You were meant to go set it up on a different desk.
You could bring it to
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a computer that was easy to move to another room. It wasn't a laptop.
Right.
Yeah.
So the 100.
Did you have any of those, Roman? 91. Were you using Macs?
Here's for anyone who cares.
I care.
Mike, I started working at Mac User about a month afterwards.
After these came out?
Yeah, after
Okay.
the laptops came out. So when I got to Mac User in the lab, these laptops were already there, and the Mac
Mhm.
Portable was there, and so right before I started working there, they had already tested them and reviewed them, but they did have them in the lab. So they were nice. They were nice laptops.
This was 91. I was in high school.
I was too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Actually, I
not
might have been in
one.
middle school. 90s, I was like a freshman in high school.
I basically dropped out of college to go work for Mac User.
Oh,
How about
okay.
that?
So yeah.
That was a smart career choice.
Well, it kind of lined up because like more people don't need to know about my history, but I was studying journalism.
Okay.
Okay.
Kind of thought I wanted to get into tech journalism because that was starting to be a thing.
Yeah.
I had a friend who worked at Mac User in the lab. This is when big magazines had labs.
Big staffs
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And he hired me. He hired me to do testing for them on a freelance basis. So I would work for him. I would do work from like 9 to 4 or something, and then I'd go to school at night.
Oh, okay.
And it got to be a little overwhelmed. So then eventually I ended up getting hired, but I took a month off before I went and joined them. And that's when to bring it back, that's when the PowerBook 100, 140, 170 was released. So I
What was the
wasn't on
difference?
staff when.
Do you have off the top of your head the difference between those three?
So the
Or is it just the
100,
chip?
there was the chip. They all had Motorola chips. The 100 had a 68,000. The 140, I think, had a 6830 at 16 megahertz. And the 170 had, I think, a 68030 at, I want to say 32 megahertz. Actually, I have it up here, and I could look.
Hard drive sizes was the other one.
25 megahertz. 25 megahertz. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, hard drive, the 20 megs for the 140 and like 40 for the 170 or something like that. Megabytes, not gigabytes, y'all.
Yeah, right. We're complaining about 256
images.
gigabytes now.
I have images, single images that would not fit on those hard drives.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
And these things had what, like
2 megabytes of memory.
Yeah, I would say a couple megs of RAM. Yeah.
yeah, about two, and then you could get more, but
Like a smaller screen than an iPad, you know.
Yeah.
Like stuff.
right, 640 by 400 monochrome screen.
It did have
all
I
Macs were
remember-
monochrome, right?
Yeah. It had the like a little trackball instead of a trackpad.
Yes.
The trackpad came later.
Yeah. No, nothing had back then. You had the little eraser tip.
Yeah.
Thing, and you had trackball, and
Does
that's all you
IBM's the ThinkPad still have that thing? Or did they get rid of that?
I think you can
I had
get
an
models
IBM
that
in college that had that thingy.
Yeah, I think you can get models that do.
Yeah. I liked it. I would buy a Mac that had what I like, that little ball.
To let everybody know how far we've come, we just talked about how unimpressive the specs were by today's standards. This computer was $2,500 when it was new. The cheap one, the 100 base model, was $2,500, and it went up from there. In US dollars today, that is $5,800.
Wild. That's insane. Yeah.
So like when we complain about what you
MacBook
get,
Pro, because it's a great deal.
right? When we complain about what you get for
I know.
$2,000 on a MacBook Pro today, just like keep in mind that in one human generation, it's gone like crazy.
And this was a fairly successful computer, Roman, Jason. Anyone
Now,
remember?
the 100 wasn't as successful because it did not come with a floppy drive.
Mm-hmm.
You had
it
to
was
use
external.
It was external, and people didn't like that, so they went up and so the 140 actually became the very popular one. That's the mid-range machine, and it had a floppy drive.
There was a recall on the 100 as well. In almost a year later, in -- some thing about a potential electrical short that could happen.
Okay.
And it could cause the electrical short could heat up the casing enough to make a little hole. They had melt a little hole in the casing.
Good.
Yeah, so they had to recall like tens of thousands, which back then, like they weren't selling millions and millions of computers. Tens of thousands was a lot. So yeah, that was a bit of a snafu.
I'm looking on the Wikipedia page. It won a bunch of design awards. PC World,
Sure.
our companion publication, named it the 10th greatest PC of all time in 2006. And
Yeah,
Mac
it was
Week,
a
is
big
that
deal.
where you said you worked, Roman? Mac Week? Or was
Mac
it
User. Mac Week
Mac
was a
User.
sister publication to Mac.
So Mac Week
User.
described it as a, quote, ideal for writers and others on a tight budget. A tight budget, imagine that.
Right. That was a cheap laptop.
You're spending $5,000 in 2025 dollars, and then this is a tight budget.
Yeah.
No, it was very well received. It did a lot. It didn't blow up too much until I think about 2 years later. They came out with a 145, which is basically a slightly upgraded version of the 140, but it was way cheaper.
Okay.
I think it was under $2,000 or something.
Wait,
And
hold on.
was
I got it
better
right
than
here.
the
I could just click the
140.
link. It was, it doesn't say.
The 145?
145 was 2149. That's
Right. So
a
several hundred,
a few $100. Yeah.
several $100 cheaper than the 100. But this was even better than the 140, and it's just a couple of years later. And I think that thing kind of sold like hotcakes, if I recall.
The 140 was $3,200, so it was way cheaper than that.
Yep, and this was like a slight improvement, and way, like you said, way cheaper. And I think that this kind of, if memory serves from 30 years ago, it flew off the shelves. Yeah, so.
So, and this came out exactly today, October 21st, 1991.
Yep. 34 years ago?
And shortly thereafter, Roman dropped out of college.
Yeah. Yep. It's been all downhill since.
Okay. So, what we're watching on Apple TV, I chose this segment today because I don't really, not to talk about what we're watching, which we can do, but last week, I think it was last week or the week before, Apple announced, and it's really strange because it's not everywhere. I'm going to check right now while I talk about this. I don't even think it's on their website. No, it's not. It's still listed. So Apple is changing the name of Apple TV Plus to Apple TV, which we all called it that anyway. Most people don't say the Plus because and they announced it. So when they announced that F1 was going to be streaming on December 12th, which is crazy. That's still 2 months away. That thing was out on the theaters in June. Anyway, so F1's coming on December 12th. With that, they announced a little tiny graph at the end of that article said, we're changing the name of Apple TV Plus to Apple TV. And that's it. We didn't hear about that again. And like I said, on the website, it still says TV Plus. On the shows, it's still, the little logo still says TV Plus. I don't know when this happens, but it's supposed to.
That announcement was about the F1 movie, but it's also about Apple has an exclusive deal with Formula One.
That came a few days later. Yeah. They were two separate things, but they're obviously related. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at some point, they're going to change it from Apple TV Plus to Apple TV. And there's a new logo and everything. Maybe with 26.1. Maybe
it is. Yeah. The latest beta of 26.1 loses the Plus already. Okay. And it's in the app and everywhere else you see, it's just as Apple TV. It doesn't say.
Okay. Well, I mean, Apple could change their website logo before that if they wanted to.
Right. I don't know what's taking so long with the website. But yeah, so that's a big change going on.
What's your thought on the change? Does it matter?
I'm conflicted because
me too.
All right, so here's my thought on it. Number one, I go, well, everyone just called it Apple TV anyway. Unless you were really in the know, like us who really are particular about it, you just called it Apple TV.
It'll make it easier for headlines because you don't have to use a little plus symbol.
And it's what everyone already said. But they have a hardware product called Apple TV, and now that's even more confusing.
Apple TV.
Do you watch Apple TV on your Apple TV? There's no. I just got Apple TV. Oh, I have that. It's no, I just got the thing you plug into your TV, the Apple TV. So maybe the next Apple TV hardware thing gets some sort of.
Will that be called Apple TV Plus?
That would be really confusing. But if it got some different way of referring to it that made it clear that this is a hardware box and that you don't need You don't need an Apple TV to watch Apple TV,
Right.
but maybe they're looking for that confusion. Maybe they're tired of people watching Apple TV on their game consoles and smart TVs and all that stuff, and they want people to go buy the box. So I don't know. So yeah, they added confusion, but they took away confusion because nobody knew what Apple TV Plus.
It wasn't
was
confusing
anyway.
before. It's just people just didn't really pay attention.
Right? They just didn't use it. They just
they
didn't
just
know
said
what you talked about.
it's on Apple
It's
TV.
just Apple TV.
Yeah.
So
They said it was like more. What was the word they used? It was some ridiculous adjective. They said.
elegant or some.
Right.
dumb-
It's like,
yeah.
really?
What was the word?
So at some point that's going to change. Like I said, probably with 26.1. And along with that, like a couple of days later, they also announced that they were going to be the exclusive home to Formula One to go, obviously to go along with the movie.
Right.
All the races
in the US.
Only in the US. I don't know a whole lot. I watch sports all the time. I don't know much about Formula One racing at all.
It is one of those things that, like MLB, is growing quickly in the US. It's nowhere near football or basketball or anything like that.
Or even like NASCAR. Yeah.
But it is growing, even compared to NASCAR. It's getting to be pretty darn popular. Internationally, it's huge. It is crazy huge around the world, but they only have an exclusive.
They only have it in the US.
In the US. So maybe they show they do a really good job and they negotiate.
And I'm sure they will. I'm sure the camera
later.
stuff will be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's included with the subscription. It's not a separate thing like soccer.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool.
As far as I can tell, it's everything. Like there's like pre-trials and race stuff, and I'm sure the camera work will be fantastic. Like I'll watch some of them just to see. Some of the stuff's going to be free to everybody. They said they didn't say what or when this starts next year, but they're going to have some programming will just be, you can just not have a subscription to Apple TV and still watch it. So there's that.
Yeah.
And if Major League Baseball is any indication, their production is top notch. Like it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's coming next year. Apple TV changing its name. And so I so rarely sit down to watch anything anymore. But I did watch a movie this past weekend on Apple TV Plus, because it's still Apple TV Plus for now. Called it's with Matthew McConaughey, called The Lost Bus. Did you guys see this?
I know of it. It just came out.
Yeah.
It just dropped,
it came a couple of weeks ago, a week ago. It was really, really good.
Last week, yeah.
It's
a true story, or based on a true
story. Yeah, about the California Paradise fires from a couple of years ago, maybe 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
About a bus driver who gets stranded with a busload of kids. It was good. I don't know, it's a kind of movie that I would assume would play in the theaters, but I guess not anymore. It had a big name. It's presumably a decent budget, like a lot of CGI stuff, and it was very good. I mean, easily the best movie I've seen from Apple TV, but that's not saying a whole lot because they're not very good generally. Their movies. They don't have a great track record, but this
we've talked about how the track record's been rough, and it's been, I guess, improving. They've been more selective, and it's improved since then. So the TV shows are great. The movies had a pretty rough go for.
Although F1 was huge. They say it's the biggest sports movie of all time. I assume that's just by ticket sales, but that's pretty good.
Probably ticket sales in dollars.
Ton of money.
I don't. Yeah. I'm gonna guess. Not more people have seen that than like Field of Dreams.
Yeah, right.
Ticket prices were a lot lower.
My favorite sports movie of all time is Major League, and nothing will ever top it.
Oh, that's a good comedy.
The best.
I love it. Charlie Sheen in his comedy movie Phase was fun.
Fantastic.
Things like that. And what's the one that he did that was like sort of a Rambo, Top Gun kind of thing.
Hot Shots. Yeah.
Hot Shots 1 and 2 are great.
Fantastic.
Those are great. Yeah. I got tricked by Apple TV. I'm using the beta, so it's Apple TV for me.
Okay.
No, I got tricked. I got tricked by it because I saw a new episode. You watch a show, and then when new episodes come up, it's on your watch list, and it said It was a new episode of Dick Turpin, or the full name's The Completely Made Up Adventures of Dick Turpin, which is a little comedy series starring Noel Fielding, who I like, about Dick Turpin's a famous British highwayman. He's like a famous creature of legend. Not creature, person. Like he's like a legendary hero, kind of
like a real
and historical figure. He's a real, he's a real person, but there's a lot of myth around him, like Robin Hood or something, right?
Yeah.
He's a legendary highwayman, and so it's a comedy thing. It's a little troop comedy show, but it's like new. It said new, and I was all excited because I didn't know there was a new season coming out, and it's a special. It's a season 1, episode 7 special. Like, so it's like an extra episode.
Wow, you got to watch something though.
Yeah, it's a Halloween episode about like, some monster comes to the village or something. I haven't seen it yet, but I just
you thought it was a full season. It's only just one episode.
I thought, oh wow, new season of Dick Turpin, and it's one special Halloween episode.
Well, I'm sorry. That's.
I like the show.
That must have been rough for you.
Yeah, it was brutal. I was so tricked. There's a lot of good new stuff on Apple TV Plus. There's been too much good TV. I haven't had the time to watch it all.
I watch Roman 2 probably the baseball playoffs every night. So I don't watch anything. I watch anything in weeks. They just wrapped up the ALCS last night. Sorry, Seattle Mariners fans. That was brutal. So now I have 4 days before the World Series starts. So maybe I'll watch something this week. We watched this movie on Saturday because the Dodgers swept, so there was no game on Saturday.
Oh,
that's why we watched that movie. Roman, are you watching anything on Apple TV Plus?
No, like you, I'm either watching. See, this is like the best time of year because it's like
the best for sports fans, if that's what you're talking about.
Baseball playoffs, then there's
basketball starts tonight.
Football and basketball preseason. So all I've been watching is sports and more sports.
October is like sports nirvana,
right?
If you're a fan,
yeah. So, and if you're into like English Premier League too, there's that. So
you sure?
Oh yeah,
and like MLS playoffs are starting soon.
Right, MLS playoffs. So
it's like everything. Yeah, it's great. Anyway,
I'm not into any of the sports, but this is the time of year when all the great video games release. So it's also been like a deluge of awesome. My backlog has been building up because everything good comes out.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Apple TV or Apple TV Plus, whatever you prefer to call it at this point. All right, Roman, let's wrap this up with your mailbag, and then you can go rest.
So time for mailbag. We got a couple comments about the new M5 products released. Nope and Nope on TikTok said, so the M4 MacBook Pro is going to drop in price. Sounds good to me. And I was going to bring this comment up when you asked me for the recommendation. It's like, yeah, if you can get a good deal on an M4 MacBook Pro, and that's a good laptop.
It's hard to say because Amazon discounts pretty heavily. Like they're not going to discount the M5 right now, but in a couple months it'll go down to, I don't know, $1,300 or whatever,
right.
$1,400.
Yeah.
The 4, like now you can get for like, I think $13.99 was the cheapest we've seen it. That's a great deal. But if you wait a couple months, you'll get the M5 for the same price. Like they rarely have like super duper blowout sales because they're always discounting these things.
And the M4 Pro and Max are current and not cheap.
Right. You can get a couple $100 off those as well, but yeah, they're not like a bargain.
Right. And Apple's not discounting them or anything like that. You can never. As always, man, check the refurb store. Apple refurbs are great.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple, you'll never ever get a sale at Apple.com.
No, not on Apple.
Store, never. No. Like literally never. Yeah.
Even when they have sales, the sale is buy this thing at full price and we give you a gift card to buy more Apple stuff.
Buy more stuff,
yeah. This comment's from user 829-129-655-1281 on TikTok.
Wait, hold on. I didn't get that.
Wait. I'm all right.
You should see how I wrote this out on my screen, so I got it correct.
That might be a bot, but let's see what they have to say.
Well, they said not offering trade-ins for the M2 Apple Vision Pro is borderline criminal.
Okay. Yep, I'm with that. Yeah, we didn't talk about that. We didn't get that to review, shockingly. But the Vision Pro has an M5 chip and a new strap that you can buy separately. And yeah, he's right. They're right. Yeah, I find that to be very strange. The people who bought a Vision Pro are obviously Apple fans. They're most loyal, richest customers.
Right.
And they're not going to at least say like, "Hey, we'll give you $2,000 to trade it in to upgrade." I'm surprised they're not doing that.
Or anything, like even $1,000, something.
Sure. Yeah.
And the sales of it are so small that it wouldn't really cost anything.
Right.
Apple
it's not
anything.
Right.
Like this isn't
they were
like
like $4 trillion. I think they can afford it.
Right. The people who would take them up on it. Yeah. So you shouldn't be buying
and it's not
any
it's
Vision
not
Pro right now.
Great move. Probably not. Yeah.
Right.
Like I don't know who would upgrade anyway, but if there was a path to upgrade and you can get it for half price or whatever, I think people would. Some people would.
Some people would.
Yeah.
Or at least no matter how few people did it, the fact that you offered it would look good on you.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So
Right. You would think that they would encourage people to upgrade because
they
want people on the faster processor. Right.
Right.
Because they can do more. So our last comment, you guys know I always like to include an antagonistic comment in these mailbags.
We get other ones?
Nicholas Martin, who is a top fan on Facebook, and I say that with a purpose, wrote, 41 years are enough. I'm off the Apple train.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wait, in reference to what, though?
What's the 41 years? Is that his age?
I think that's how many years he's been an Apple person. So this was in reference to all the announcements that Apple made with the M5 stuff.
What?
That's what caused him to leave Apple?
What? I know. What?
Well, I just thought it was funny that he's a top fan on Facebook, which means he's on the Macworld Facebook page a lot.
Right. Yeah.
But he's off the Apple train. And he's commenting.
Did he go from the train to the bus? Because 40 years, like that's a wild reason to leave.
He's probably going to have to replace a lot of stuff. But yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Like it's,
all right, listen,
it's not this isn't an airport.
Name?
You don't have to announce your departure. We're okay. It's all right.
His name is Nicholas Martin on Facebook. And
all right, Nicholas Martin, if you're listening to this, we're not a call-on show, but we'll find a way to get you on the podcast to call in. Because we have to talk to you. If that was the final straw, what were all the straws before that?
That's kind of what gets me, is because there was nothing particularly egregious about these updates.
You're getting more for the same price. Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, there's things we wish they would do, but they're not. These aren't bad products. They haven't lost their way or anything like that. Yeah, okay.
You know how some people on Facebook just need to respond and put in their 2 cents, even if it's not relevant to what they're responding to?
Yep.
I think this is a case of that.
Yeah, but that sounds like he thought it through.
Well, that's why
he's a top fan.
That's why I was like, you're off the Apple train, yet you're always on the Macworld Facebook.
Well, see, stay on the Macworld train, Nicholas.
Right, yeah. Let's stay and read about all the things that you're glad you're missing or whatever, because, yeah.
Anyways, that does it for the Macworld Podcast mailbag.
All right. And that does it. I think I forgot to say the number of the episode, Roman.
This
is 956.
Yes.
I think I forgot. Okay. Well, now I said it. So I remember. That does it for this episode of the Macworld Podcast, episode number 956. Thank you to Jason Cross.
Thank you.
Thanks to Roman.
Thank you.
And thanks to you, the audience, and Nicholas. I forgot his last name already. Damn it! I was supposed to be funny there, and I forgot the guy's name. Roman, what's the guy's name?
Nicholas Martin.
Nicholas Martin. Thank you to the audience, especially Nicholas Martin, for tuning in. You can subscribe to the Macworld Podcast in the podcast app on Spotify, YouTube at the Macworld Podcast channel, or through any other podcast app. If you have comments or questions, Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads, that Blue Mouse logo, email me, email Roman, email Jason, email one of us. We'll get it. Nicholas Martin, if it's you, please email me because I would love to talk to you. I'm dying to know. Like, I've never been more curious about a comment in all my life. And you can join us in the next episode of the Macworld Podcast as we talk about the latest in the world of Apple. See you next time.